I've cracked the code on how to hire a virtual assistant, and today I'm going to give you 4 ways to make sure that your next virtual assistant hire is the perfect one for you. Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in again. My name is Brennan Klaus and I'm back here to tell you a little bit about my experience hiring a virtual assistant, and I'm laughing because it hasn't always been an easy experience. Now, I'm in real estate, so this is going to be slightly skewed towards a real estate perspective, but I do believe that hiring a virtual assistant could help anyone as long as they have work that can be done virtually. And I'm going to try to give you some tips on how to make sure that that next virtual assistant you hire is actually your best hire yet. Now, it has been a long road for me to hire the right virtual assistant. It's actually taken probably a little over a year to find the right fit, but I feel like I finally cracked the code. And so today I want to share with you 4 things that I think you need to do and make sure you're doing to ensure that your virtual assistant hire is actually a really good hire for you. Virtual assistants can do an array of different tasks and items for you. Specifically in real estate, they're great because we do have a lot of virtual tasks that can be done and a lot of stuff that could be taken off of our plate because we're out doing showings or we really want to be client facing most of the time. Having someone help on the back end and do those tasks virtually can be really beneficial to real estate brokers because there is so much that can be done and we need to spend our time in front of clients because that's actually where we make the most money. So I'm going to tell you today in this video these 4 steps. Let's get right into it and talk about how to hire that perfect virtual assistant for your business. My number 1 step is to outline exactly what you need. Now, if you're running your own business, I'm sure this is a very, very long list of things that you could use help with because I know from experience that running my own business includes doing everything. You are HR, you are payroll, you are customer service, you are everything under the sun. You are marketing, you are social media, you're doing it all. So you need to make an outline of every task that you think you could hand off to a virtual assistant. Just like the workforce, virtual assistants have different skill sets and can do a lot of different things. But you need to start by making this list of what you need done. Now, from that list, you need to really cut it down. One thing, and the first most important thing that I found is that virtual assistants cannot take on too many tasks at once. Too many tasks becomes unmanageable to them. So you really need to focus in on what are those items that you really need and what are ways that they could be grouped together. So for example, if you need a lot of marketing tasks done, group together a few marketing tasks to start, and then you can build out from there once your virtual assistant has developed the skills to manage those tasks first. Or let's say you need more admin work, answering emails, managing your calendar, group those together. That might be a whole other virtual assistant's job. And once they've managed those and have become capable of doing those things, then you can move on to adding more to their plate. But one big mistake that I made at the beginning is that I didn't actually reduce the list of what I wanted them to do. I just came up with this big, huge list and said, I think they can do everything for me. I think they'll be really beneficial to my business. But in reality, you have to reduce that list and make sure that there's just one primary focus of what they're doing, at least to start. Now that I've actually found a virtual assistant that I really like and who can manage more, it has become more possible now to actually give them more tasks that they can end up doing for me. So the first step is really paring that list down. You have to be really intentional. One book that is a great read that I've always gone back to is The One Thing. So you can do anything really great if you're focused on one thing. And that's definitely my advice here, is to focus in on that one thing, what they can do to really take your business to the next level. And I would suggest thinking about what is the most impactful thing that they can do. For me, it was giving me my time back to be in front of clients, like I mentioned before. So what is that one thing for you that will actually elevate your business and take you to the next level? Think about that. And again, if you feel like you might have too many tasks, it probably means you do. And so you need to reduce that list, at least to start. You can add more later, or you could hire another virtual assistant for different tasks, but start by reducing that list. Tip number 2, the second thing you need to do is you need to find a way to find talent. Now, I personally have virtual assistants who are in the Philippines, and there are different websites and different sources that you can go to actually find virtual assistants. One really great one in real estate is called Sphere Rocket VA. VA stands for virtual assistant. There's also another one called My Outdesk virtual assistants. Those are two really popular ones in real estate. There are also job posting websites, for example, in the Philippines where we have virtual assistants hired. There are job posting websites that you can post on directly. Now, if you are posting yourself and you're vetting everyone, it's super important that you come up with very, very clear instructions on how the virtual assistant needs to apply. And the reason for this is because you want to see if they can follow the instructions. Communication is really key between you and your virtual assistant, and so this will start your relationship off on the right foot if they can actually follow your instructions correctly and make sure that they're doing exactly what you say when you put that job posting out and when you give instructions on how to apply. For example, do you want their resume sent to a specific email address? Do you want them to include anything in the body of that email? These are all minor details that could make a big difference when you're communicating with someone virtually or around the world. So it's super important that you are ready and aware to give specific details that you need met in your experience or in your hiring journey. So make sure you think of those minor details. If you're not sourcing these people yourself, like I mentioned, there are companies that are really good at sourcing people. You tell them kind of what you want done in your business, and they'll be able to go out and source talent for those specific types of jobs. Now, this can save you a lot of time, but it does come at the cost of paying money for that. So you do have to be aware that there is a cost to having someone screen those candidates for you. So just be aware of that going in. It is something you'll need to know, but really you can find great talent through those websites or through a job posting board where you can actually source the talent yourself and filter through those candidates yourself. As long as you're just being very specific, it will save you a lot of time if you're specific about what you want from them and give them some instruction at the beginning. The third step to being successful in this process is start on a trial period. Never say that you're going to hire someone endlessly. You need to make sure that they are aware that they're on a trial period, that you're going to see how you work together, and then decide at the end of that trial period if you are working together well. You know, you want to make sure, as with any hire, that you're working together well. This isn't going to be just something where you have a virtual assistant come in and then if things aren't working well, you keep going. No, you actually want to make sure they're doing what you need them to do and also that you feel comfortable working with them. So I would recommend a trial period of about 30 days to start and schedule those check-ins. So schedule a check-in after that first 30 days to make sure that they're meeting your expectations and that you are meeting their expectations. You are half of the equation in this as the employer, so you have to make sure that you're also meeting the expectations of your employee, making sure you're giving them everything they need to be successful. It is really important as you're going on this trial period that you set very clear expectations. Nothing can be left unsaid. It is so important that nothing is left unsaid. You have to go back to basics. When do you expect them to be online? How soon do you expect a response? When they aren't online, what do you expect them to be doing? What are the hours specifically? How much can they be away from their computer during their shift? Do they get a break? They seem like minor things, and they are things that are minor when you work together with a person in person. But when you're working virtually, these all have to be thought out. So don't assume anything. You have to assume that nothing is in place, and you have to be very honest about what your expectations are, because if you're not, then it's going to be really difficult for them to meet those expectations for you. So start on a trial period and make sure your expectations are set very, very clearly and that they know what those expectations are and that you've thought through what you want as well. And if those expectations change, you have to tell them. You have to let them know right away that you have different expectations of them and that things have changed and why they've changed. After that 30-day check-in, whether it is working out or not, you'll have two different choices. If it's working out, you'll continue to go forward. And I would recommend, even in that scenario, that you have another check-in. So start setting up that 30-day cadence where you're actually checking in, just like you would with any employee, every single 30 days, making sure that they're happy in the role, that they have clear communication from you, but also that you're happy with them and the work they're doing, and that you are both clearly communicating. Now, the fourth and final step in this process to make sure you are super successful in hiring that virtual assistant is to be very specific about the questions you ask and use tools to automate certain tasks that you need your virtual assistant to do. What I mean is going back to that list, back to step one that you created. What are those main priorities that you will have for them? And then structure your questions around those priorities when you're interviewing them. So, for example, when I interview a VA, I ask very specific questions that are aligned to the role and the job and the duties that they will have. For example, when I'm interviewing an admin, I ask, how do you keep track of the tasks that you need to complete? This question is something that's going to gauge, are they organized? Do they know how to keep track of a list? Are they going to be good at doing administrative work? Because if they don't know how to keep track of their own tasks, there's no way that they're going to be able to keep track of it for themselves and for me. And we're setting ourselves up on the wrong foot, right? We're starting off on the wrong foot. So you need to structure your questions around the role that you are hoping to hire. Now, I do have a free downloadable guide on the questions you should ask to a virtual assistant if you're hiring for administration roles. So if you're hiring for that first admin, think executive assistant, someone you need to help you right by your side and do almost everything you can do eventually, not right away, be your right-hand person, then you can go to the link below on my website and download this free resource of the questions that I use to ask this. And I ask this to every single candidate in the same order, and I ask them what other questions they have for me, because that's also going to be a guide to what they're thinking about. Have they done any research about the role? Did they look at the job posting? Do they know what the role is about? Can they actually, do their own research and come with curious questions? Because I do value curiosity. Curiosity is going to lead to someone, an employee, doing even better because they're probably going to push the boundaries and push for more information. So that's super important to me. So you have to make sure that your questions are structured around the role that you're hiring for. I have that free downloadable guide. If you want to, just look at the link in the description and you can get that. But the other part of this fourth step is that you have to use tools that can help automate the process and help you both stay on the same page. Now, in our business, we use Asana, which is a task tracking tool. It is really great at setting up tasks that are reoccurring. It sets great deadlines. It allows you to communicate with someone and assign a task to someone, and also communicate a deadline for that task, a status, and then it also implements a reoccurring status. So if you need something sent to you every Monday, for example, they can actually have that pop up on their Asana board, your assistant, every Monday to be notified that they need to do it. And then at the end of their shift, they can mark off every single thing that they've done. So you, as their employee, have visibility into what they're actually working on, and when tasks are complete. So this is a really great tool to get invested in and actually use so that you can make sure that you're on the same page with your virtual assistant about what they need to work on. And it gives you the opportunity to be very detailed about what they need to be working on, because details are super important when you're virtual. You have less opportunity to communicate. Now, speaking of communication, another tool we use is Slack. So we use Slack a lot, both to communicate with virtual assistants and amongst our team. And we use this also as an opportunity to allow the virtual assistant to call at any time. There's a huddle function on Slack where you can actually jump into a quick call and actually use that to communicate about something. So if I'm out and I'm on my phone on Slack, I can quickly get on a call with my virtual assistant if they have a question about something or need to know clarifying details about a certain task I've given them. This is super important also that they feel like they can call you. You want to make it an open environment so they know they can give you a call, and make sure that they can clarify questions with you. Don't discourage them in any way, whether you know what's happening or not, whether you know if you're discouraging them or not. Try not to discourage them from asking you multiple questions, because it will take a lot of communication at the beginning, and you really need to establish a cadence of communication to make sure that you are on the same page probably every single day when they're working on certain tasks. So you need to have these tools in place like Asana and Slack to really make sure that you're communicating in the best way possible and everything is super crystal clear, because when you're virtual, it's much harder to be clear about what you need and when you need it. So those are the 4 steps, the step-by-step guide to making sure that the next virtual assistant that you hire, or your first virtual assistant that you hire, is a success. I mentioned that virtual assistants that we use are specific to real estate. Now we train these virtual assistants. We spend a lot of time actually with them on Zoom, on Slack, in Asana, making sure they understand every single thing that they need to do. And again, only giving them one task at a time that is their primary focus. And then I've found that you can build upon those once the one task is mastered. I do have a free download of the questions that I ask in the description, and that's for an administrative role. So, but this is specifically for an administrative role. Questions would be different if you were hiring for a marketing position or some other type of position. Now, a virtual assistant has many other facets to it. This is just one way to leverage your business, and a way that I found is a really great opportunity for you as a business owner or an employer to actually free up some of your time to go do those other activities you need to do to make more money and make your business more successful. So there are endless opportunities with virtual assistants. They are in the Philippines, and one thing that we've started to do is once we find a successful virtual assistant, we hope and know that they probably have friends who are successful like them, and so we might be able to hire their friends as well. So that's what we've started to look into as well. There are endless opportunities with what you can get help with, so don't be afraid to pursue those. It may take a couple of tries. Trust me, it took me, like I said, almost over a year to find the right virtual assistant and actually get to a place where I was asking the right questions and focusing on the right tasks and finding that right person for the role. So don't give up. It is a long process, but you can do it. And with these 4 steps, I believe you'll be able to do it in a quicker time than I did, and you will be very successful at finding your perfect virtual assistant. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'm super excited you're here. I'm going to be releasing a new video every single Wednesday, so I hope you'll subscribe to my channel, and I hope you'll come back and watch. I am focused specifically on real estate, education, and investing, and I want to help you in other ways. So please reach out if there are other videos you want to see or questions you have. I'd love to know so that I can create videos on those topics, but I'm here to help the community and help grow other people's business and help them think about real estate investing and educate them as well. So if you have anything you want to see, comment and subscribe. I super appreciate you being here, and I would love to know what else is on your mind. Thanks so much for tuning in. I will see you again on my next video, which will be next Wednesday. Thanks.